Salud, ça va? Saludos, mi bella gente de YouTube. Hi, everybody. Hey, guys. So, Leanna Gabrielle here, and this is going to be a message for the baby witches. This video is all about you. So, I have been reading tarot professionally for the past 2 years, and I've noticed that some of my tarot clients, shout out to y'all, are hella witchy. Y'all just got this vibe, like the energy is there. I can read tarot cards. My gift is that I'm an empath, so I pick up energy. I feel energy. I read your energy. I feel your energy. I tell you what you're feeling. That's my gift, and that's how I give people the messages that they need to hear. So, as an empath, when I channel some of you, the energy is very witchy. It's in terms of the tarot card, it would definitely be the Empress, the intuition leading the way, the divine knowledge of deep down inside, just knowing. Ashe. So, yeah, you know, definitely as we're seeing with the mass awakening with the corona, and as we're seeing on an individual level, people having their own personal revolutions, people having their own major life shifts, different sides of people are coming out. And one of the most positive things that I'm seeing is definitely the witchy side, the juju, the bruja vibe. It's really cool to see y'all starting to tap into that vibe, tap into that wealth of ancestral knowledge. And yeah, so with that being said, baby witch. Okay, so the term baby witch means that you are starting out in witchcraft, you're just starting to practice witchcraft. That's a baby witch. Now, if you're just someone who's curious and you're learning, then you're just a human who's curious and learning. But there's a big difference between someone who's trying to gather information and trying to learn more, and someone who's actually practicing something, doing something with the intention of spirituality, religious connection, uh, yeah, ritual work, all that fun stuff. So, definitely for baby witches, my advice is for both baby witches, who are beginning to practice and people who are just learning, definitely do research, definitely read things, definitely explore social media, and be very, I guess, try to be cautious and try to be aware as to if the information you are receiving has a level of bias to it. That's going to be really important to keep in mind. Uh, this goes back to what I was saying in the What is Tarot video, that the early anthropologists, the first anthropologists this world has ever had, were very ignorant, and they just automatically associated a more local, indigenous, native to the land, those rituals, those cultural practices. They automatically labeled them under very negative terminology such as demonic, satanic, ungodly, savage. And that unfortunately does have a role in how history textbooks and academic journals, and how these stories have been told throughout the generations. So please keep that in mind. There's definitely going to be different perceptions, and there's going to be different realities in the world of spirituality and more traditional belief systems. So, yes, so to summarize, do your research, be aware if there's bias, So that'll be my first talking point for the baby witches. My second talking point, my second tip for the baby witches is going to be very aware of themselves. You should know before you jump into anything, you should really know your personal intention, why you doing it. Why do you want to do it? What's the result you want? You have to be very, very aware. Okay, you have to know what energy you are bringing to whatever you're thinking of doing. Be very, very aware of your intentions and how you plan on doing what you want to do. And what your intention is with witchcraft overall. This is not something that you just pick up and drop. This is not a hobby. This is not a pottery class. This is not a spin class. This is not yoga. Like, this is not something you just pick up and drop. Okay, witchcraft, opening up that portal to witchcraft, especially when you're talking about channeling other energies, channeling the other side. Potentially channeling negative energies if you want to do something that results in something that's more of a consequence, something that can get in the way of someone's path. These are all energies, so you have to know what you're bringing forth first and foremost, and you have to understand, you do not just pick and choose these energies and pick them up and drop them as you please. These are energies that you're choosing to pick up and to hold on to. The witchcraft is not just, I pick it up, I try it for a little bit, and I put it down. This is not it. This is not, if you're looking for that, that's a hobby. That's not going to be witchcraft. That's not what this is. You're going to carry a level of this work energetically from this point forward if you do choose to engage in witchcraft. So please keep that in mind. You will carry this energy. Even if you take a spiritual bath after, there's karma, okay? There's another side to this. So please keep this in mind, baby witches. Please be serious about your craft and be absolutely sure before you decide on doing something. So this brings me to my next point. Please be safe. Now, what do we say? Now, what do we really mean when we say be safe in the whole witchcraft world, right? Sorry, guys. Practice your rituals safely, okay? If you like to light candles, definitely light them, but make sure they are off before you go to sleep. That's definitely going to be a very good tip that I can give you guys. Definitely do not just try random witchcraft and spells that you find online. Please, for the love of everything good, and just don't do it, girl. You don't want to. You just don't want to. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. You're going to want to be safe. Especially if you want a very dramatic result, chances are the ritual work, the energy that you're going to have to put into that will have to be intense as well. You need the energy to be able to do the work. You need to have the energy to be able to protect yourself. You need the level of experience to understand what the hell's going on with everything. Don't be shy to ask elders questions. Don't be shy to ask professionals and people who are about that life questions. That's going to be very, very important. When it comes to being safe as well, be very careful, baby witches, of who you share the information with regarding what you do, regarding your craft, even regarding your beliefs. Because people can be very judgmental, people can be very harsh. I myself personally have gotten the critique pertaining to tarot cards, and I've been told that it's of the devil, plain and simple. So not everybody is gonna be supportive of you accessing that part of yourself and reaching that level of transcendence within your own spiritual development. Keep in mind, not everyone is on not everyone is aware of their spiritual path. Not everyone is consciously going through their path. So some people just won't get it. And unfortunately, some of these people might be people that are close to you. So, baby witches, be very aware of who knows what pertaining to you and your witchy activities and your beliefs. Part of being safe, protecting your mental and physical space as well as your spiritual space. Sache. Other advice for baby witches: don't hex the moon. I don't know what I saw going on IG that like I couldn't even address it because I was like, this is so dumb. Oh my god, don't hex anything related to Mother Nature. Like, just don't. Just don't. You ever wonder how people get struck by lightning? Probably doing something stupid like that. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that, y'all. Safe things that I would encourage baby witches to do besides research. Establishing an altar. Your altar can be compromised. This is your altar is all about you and your desires and what you want there. You can do an altar with candles. You can do an altar for your ancestors with pictures and offerings for your ancestors, which would be things that they enjoyed while they were living. For example, if you had ancestors who liked to drink alcohol, maybe you'd get a little bottle, maybe one of those cute little mini ones, and put it on your altar for them. Maybe if you had an ancestor who was fond of cigars, you'll go out of your way, and spend a little bit on a nice quality cigar and just put it on the altar to remember and to offer to your ancestor. You can have flowers on your altar. You can have statues, spiritual, religious-based statues. These are going to be what makes your altar. Now, the purpose of an altar, baby witches, the purpose of your altar is going to be to ground you, okay? Even in the Bible, there's direct references to altars and to having that space. This is to ground you. This is the spiritual center of your home. Altars can be private. You can have it closed away or you can have it out in the open. That's completely up to your discretion and your vibe and how you feel about that. Altars are a sacred space for you to connect to the other side, to whatever you believe in on the other side. God, the saints, orishas, your ancestors, that power, that force that you believe in, that's how you're going to be connecting and grounding to that energy, is going to be through your altar. So definitely set up a nice altar space to my baby witches. That's going to be lovely. Christmas lights, around that area is a nice touch. Altars are beautiful, and they can be simple, they can be very small, or they can be large and they can be elaborate. My last apartment was in New York City, and I was in a studio, and I literally had my altar set up on a windowsill. So, like, all my candles, all my stuff right on the windowsill. So this is up to you as to how grand you want to make it. If you want to lay down fabric on the bottom or on the wall behind, if you want to buy a certain piece of furniture to place everything into so you can then close everything after. This is completely up to you, baby witches, as to how you'd like to do that. Now, you do not have to be a baby witch if you want to set up an altar just for your ancestors to show them respect and remembrance. That's amazing as well, and definitely an asset to your spiritual journey to have that place there for your ancestors within your home. Definitely. Other things that baby witches could do that are going to be positive: really do live in the laws you believe in. If you believe in karma, really live by that. If you believe in law of attraction, really believe in that. Really tune in, tap in, tune into that vibe. 1,000%, baby witches. What else can I encourage? I didn't take notes for this, guys. This is on the top of the dome. This is out of mi corazón. Hmm. Be patient with yourself. There's so much esoteric knowledge out there, from African traditional religions to Wicca. There's just so many different systems and so many different things. Satanism is actually a real thing. The Church of Satan is a real thing. I learned that this past semester at Concordia. There's so much knowledge. There's so much to learn about. Shamans are such a wide, that is such a broad label. Shamans and shamanism is a term that's been used. Oh my gosh. I want to say, oh my gosh. I feel like maybe, oh my, I read texts at Concordia that were going back to like 1700s, referencing the term shamanism, that vernacular of terminology. So shamanism is it's a very broad label, because the Europeans did not just limit it to the indigenous and native practices. As they traveled, depending on what they saw, some of them would label it as a shamanic technique or method. So this is also why it's important to really kind of pay attention to who the author is, because someone who is not of that culture, someone who is not of that religion, someone who is not of that community may mislabel what they're doing under whatever perception and whatever context it is. I'm constantly referencing the perspective of the colonial gaze, because that is the one that I specifically have studied, personally, yes, experienced first and foremost, yes, but actually studied academically, that I can actually pull academic journals for you guys if you're interested. Academia.edu and other references like that. Google Scholar. Guys, there's so much information out there about this stuff. If you're interested, if you want to know better ways to conduct research about esoteric things, witchy things, witchcraft, brujeria, definitely comment below. There's always going to be the option to go through community and go through people that are practicing, and hopefully being able to engage with someone who's open and willing to share and answer your questions in that respect. That's always one angle to go from the community, by the community. And with social media, it's very easy to look up just hashtags and click and see who's practicing something that you're interested in, that you can learn about, whether it be just from looking at their feed, or maybe getting up the courage to ask them, like, hey, I'm very interested in this. Is it cool if I just ask you some questions? It's cool. It's really, really cool to learn about witchcraft and spiritual practices from a community-based angle. And then there's also the scholarly route, the academia route of going through texts and going through research and studies, things of that nature, to give you historical, very factual, dun kind of route. So, and what's interesting is that the factual is more so in line, that it ties in laws and things that were going on with regular society, and how the shaman, how the savage, how the other was dealing with the society pressures. For example, when they passed the laws against witchcraft, I believe in Europe in the 1600s, so when you study it academically, it's not just talking, it's, first of all, good luck if you find like an actual person's firsthand account. It's usually the anthropologist watching these people and then speaking on it. I'm sure in certain parts of academia, maybe indigenous studies and things like that, you would really be able to have the opportunity to hear things directly from the perspective of the practitioner versus the perspective of the observer, which is what you're going to come across in maybe 90% of academic and scholarly texts. That was my experience. And if you've done any of this kind of research as well, and you want to share what your experience was like, and what you found, definitely share below. If you were able to find more narratives, definitely shoot that my way. That would be dope. I love to read more narratives and personal accounts of practitioners of traditional spiritual systems and religious systems. this stuff is like, this is my geek world. Like this is what I geek out about, guys. So this is my wholehearted advice to the baby witches, and I hope you guys can appreciate this message. If you have any questions, please comment below, like, comment, subscribe, all that good ish. Baby witches, be safe. Baby witches, don't ignore your callings. Tune in, tap in. You know, you're powerful and you're gonna blossom. You're just blossoming. Ache. I love you guys. Mwah.